Hey, welcome back to another Carsonian and Beans NFL video. Today I'll be ranking every single team by their defense, so it's just their defense. So yeah, I'm taking defensive line, I'm taking linebackers, I'm taking safeties. I want to make this video a quick one. It is getting pretty late. I normally record these around like noon. But anyways, let's just go ahead and get into it. With the worst, your offense better be amazing. I mean, like you better be ready to run up some points. If you're gonna have an offense like this. I mean, Patriots at the very, very bottom. And originally, whenever I made this video, I was gonna say something like, "Oh, well, the Patriots are gonna have a terrible offense, so this is gonna be even worse for them." But now they've gotten Cam Newton. They really don't need. They need a lot of defense, but okay, this is terrible. I mean, you don't want to have the worst defense in the league, but it's definitely not gonna be as bad as if they didn't have Cam in there. I mean, it's just really just terrible. Their defensive line, I mean, like, they've got a 3-4. Their defensive line only has, like, two. It only really has. Their defensive line's terrible. Their front seven's terrible. The only thing that's pretty good, I mean, they've got a pretty good secondary, but other than that, I mean, get it out of my face. Can I, please? Okay. And in second to last, we have the Browns. Look at them. Yeah, I mean, really, it's just terrible. I mean, unless Baker Mayfield really stepped, and this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are saying, like, oh, well, that was Baker Mayfield. They had bad play calling last year and everything. People are saying that's why, like, Baker Mayfield's going to be better this year because they got a new head coach or whatever. But, I mean, look at this defense. He's going to have to be an amazing quarterback. He's going to have to be really even better than he was in the first year. And, I mean, nobody really thinks he can do that, but this isn't about quarterbacks, is it? I mean, again, their front seven, I mean, really, they got Mac Wilson on there, but other than that, their front seven is terrible. Really, you can just sit back and pass all day if you're playing against them. You don't need to worry about that crap. I mean, they got Grant Del Pete, but really, I mean, last year they got Greedy Williams, so, I mean, that tells you that they're not very good at picking cornerbacks. At 30th, like I said, this is going to be a quick video. We've got the Lions, or quicker than my normal ones. We got the Lions here. And, I mean, this is another one. Their offense isn't very good, so they're going to have to be really good. I mean, I guess Matthew Stafford's a bit underrated. But even with that, they're going to have to step it up. I mean, really, I mean, their linebacker, and again, they've got one okay player on that front seven. That's Jamie Collins. That's just about it. I mean, I'm looking through here. They really don't have two. I mean, they have a terrible defense, and that's just one of the reasons I've had. I mean, okay, they do have Tracy Walker, and if Jeff Okudah takes off, then that secondary could be pretty good. But right now, I'm taking it as, you know, he's a rookie. He could do bad. He could do good. I mean, really, when you only have one player with like over 50 tackles and Tracy Walker, that's not very good. In 29th, we have the Bears, and this is another one where the defense should be doing all the work. What happened to the great Bears defense from years past? It used to be like, oh, the Bears, such a strong defensive team. And now it's like, look at them, 29th defense. I mean, really. And they're going to have, like I said before, they're going to have to step up their defense game too with having really two backups. Kind of the position that the Dolphins are in last year. And, I mean, they're really not prepared. I mean, look at this. I mean, really, their linebackers are atrocious. I mean, a lot of these teams, their defensive line is terrible. They don't have, none of these guys really have complete garbage secondaries, except for maybe the Browns. But it's like their defensive linebackers are all bad. In 28th, we got the Cowboys falling down here. This is, I mean, really, when you have like a player like Dak Prescott on your offense, your defense is going to have to step it up, okay? They've got number one wide receivers, in my opinion, but their defense... All right, Cowboys. I mean, look, on their line, they have a player in Tyrone Crawford who only had one tackle last year and a sack, but only one tackle. I mean, I know that it's probably because he didn't play, But still, that tells me he's not experienced. I mean, you've got a bad enough defense. You're going to add a player who's inexperienced. It's just bad. 27, we've got the Redskins. Personally, my team, here's the deal, though. Like, I always try to kind of keep rookies kind of out of the equation because they could be bust or they could be great. If I had, like, said Chase Young, they would have been probably maybe in the top 10. But it's just because, like, I mean, their front seven is definitely might be one of the best, but their secondaries are lacking very strongly. Okay? At least they won't have to pick up on a terrible offense. In 26, we've got the Jets. The Jets might be battling with the Lions for the worst team in the league, but they are better defense. And this, now they probably would be dead last if Jamal Adams gets the trade that he wants. Because right now, Jamal Adams is still on the Jets. As of I'm recording this video, I have not seen anything that says that Jamal Adams has gotten the trade that he really wants. And I don't blame him. I mean, the Jets are terrible. I would want out of there too, even if I was getting paid $1 billion. I mean, so if Jamal Adams is out, they'd probably be battling with the Patriots for the worst. But right now, Jamal Adams is single-handedly keeping the Jets up at 26th. In 25th, we have the Eagles. The Eagles, I mean, at least they're not, down. I mean, we've already seen 3 NFC East teams right in the bottom. The NFC East is going to be a very interesting one because really it's anybody's game at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, or Eagles take the crown, which is why, I mean, it's going to be really hard when I redo my predictions. But, I mean, the Eagles, everyone talks about how Fletcher Cox is so good, but he really isn't. Again, their defensive linebackers are defensive line is pretty terrible. I mean, looking at it, the defensive line, I mean, look, they have Jatavis Brown and Alex Singleton as 2 of their 3 linebackers. And combined, they both only have 10 tackles, no sacks, no forced fumbles, no interceptions, no nothing. That shows me inexperience. They did not play at all last year, probably for a good reason. I mean, they're going to have no sacks this year, basically. Heading on to, I mean, this is just below average defense. This isn't anything to be talking about. We've got the Jaguars on here at 24th. Look at them. I lost my place in my notes. Alright, I mean, I guess they've got Joe Schobert. I mean, we're getting up until, like, they're not terrible. They're just, you definitely don't want them. The addition of Josh Allen, he might, but I mean, still, they added Josh Allen last year, which was a good move. I mean, he's the second best, he's Yannick Ngakoue is their best defensive lineman. So, I mean, their defensive line is solid. They've got a solid defensive line except for Al Woods, really. Al Woods is a pretty bad defensive line. They got a 4-3. But, I mean, still, the defensive line is pretty okay. We've got a solid defensive line. This is the first time that I can say that not all parts of them are bad. Their defensive line is pretty good. Not good, but it's solid. And in 23rd, we've got the 49ers. I don't know how they took this defense into the Super Bowl, but I mean they did. But we're not here to talk about that, unless y'all want to. In which case, let me know. I mean they got Nick Bosa and Arik Armstead on that defensive line core, so that definitely helps. Nick Bosa is a very, very explosive player. Arik Armstead again is better than him. I mean, we've never really heard of Arik Armstead. They also added Javon Kinlaw. So this defensive line has the possibility to explode onto the scene. Well, I guess it was good last year. It has the possibility to become pretty good. But the rest of them, I mean, honestly, it's just pretty terrible all around. I mean, I'm over here looking. I have so many notes. Weird flex, I know. It's really hard. All right, so I guess... So they've got a solid defense. They've got a offensive line that could be above average, and they've got Richard Sherman as a secondary. I mean, it's enough to get them to 23rd. It's nothing special. I mean, they don't have very good linebackers, and I mean, only having one good person in your secondary isn't going to do much. And 22nd, we have the Giants, and there we have it. That's all the NFC East. That's it. Like I said, I could see any team taking over the NFC East. Giants with the best freaking defense in the entire NFC East by a long shot. Their secondary is what's holding them up. Their front seven is pretty meh, but their secondary, I mean, DeAndre Baker, Jabril Peppers, Xavier McKinney, and James Bradbury, this stuff is amazing. James Bradbury himself having 12 pass deflections, that's pretty freaking good. So, I mean, this secondary is, I would say, top 15. But the rest of their team is just pretty meh. Meh. We're getting into the average category here. There's not very many terrible teams. We might be exiting the bad. Then we get to the Rams. This is another team that just a few years ago made it to the playoffs, and Super Bowl. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them make the playoffs this year. I'd be very surprised to see them make it to the Super Bowl, more or less win. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a playoff run this year. I mean, they've got once again, this secondary is pretty good, especially when you got like Taylor Rapp on there, Jalen Ramsey, which was a great addition last year. Looking at their front seven, as I'm trying to find, their front seven. I mean, look, they've got once again, they have a player like Micah Kaiser with only 2 tackles and no sacks, no forced fumbles, no interceptions, which again tells me not very experienced. So this linebacker core desperately needs some work, and it's not even just him. The rest of them's not that bad, not good. And I just don't want to say it because I want to save time. I don't want to say all their names and put out their stats. In 20th, we have the Broncos. Really, their linebacker core could be top 10. I mean, they've got players like Von Miller, Alexander Johnson, Todd Davis, and if Bradley Chubb steps up here, they could have a very, very elite linebacker unit. I mean, and they're going to need it, again, because they have such a lackluster offense. You can fight me about that if you would like. Really, you could make an argument for this team to be higher. It's just the fact, I mean, looking at, they don't have any good, I mean, I guess you have Justin Simmons, but other than that, their freaking rest of their defense is meh at best. So, I mean, they got a good linebacker core. They could, I mean, they just need to get some sacks, like Drew Lock get better, and yeah. In 19th, we have the Colts. So now we're probably just into average category. They're not good, they're not elite, it's just average. This is just your run-of-the-mill defense. What am I on? Oh, yeah, Colts. The Colts, their defensive linebackers are elite. I mean, you've got Darius Leonard, Anthony Walker, Bobby Okereke, if I'm saying that right. This is another one where their linebackers are good. You could also argue that these guys could be higher on this list. I mean, their defensive line, though, I mean, they've got, like, Danico Autry, who really only had 20 tackles last year. Their best defensive lineman is DeForest Buckner, who only had 34 tackles and 2 forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks. So, I mean, DeForest Buckner is pretty good. I mean, he's pretty meh. He's an average player. So, I mean, if they step up that defensive line, they could be, their defense could be a force to be reckoned with. In 18th, we've got the Falcons. Another team that's really, really, really going to need their defense. We've seen a lot of bad offenses to go along with pretty meh defenses down here. I mean, well, I guess Todd Gurley on the offense could, relieve some of the pressure. I mean, if they just run the ball like crazy and they take advantage of the fact that their defense isn't terrible, then I guess they could keep them off the field. But look at this. Their best defensive line, the best defensive lineman is Grady Jarrett by far, okay? And he only has 38 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. When I'm saying by far, I mean by like 12 tackles. They need to step things up. Come on, Falcons. Get your game together. And in 17th, we've got the Buccaneers. I don't see why people are like, oh, the Buccaneers are going to be so great this year. Their offenses. Their defense is another whole deal. It's just, like, look at this crap. I mean, everyone. I mean, their defensive line again. They got a 3-4 defense, and it's terrible. Their best defensive lineman is William Golston. He only has 26 tackles and 1 sack, and that's it. That's their best one. They got Ndabukong Suh, who I've heard a lot about, and Vita Vea. They're both bad. Why are people hyping them up to be some of the best when they're really not? But maybe they're okay, so I'll give them this. Their secondary is pretty solid. They've got a solid secondary that's pretty freaking good. Their linebackers are good. So, I mean, other than their terrible defensive line, they've got an average secondary. That's what it is. Here we go. In 16th. We are still in the average category, in my opinion. We have the Chiefs. Another one. I mean, they made it to the playoffs. They won this is a Super Bowl winning defense right here. Don't know if they can do it again, but they sure as heck aren't hurting their offense. Look at this. Let me find them. So, I mean, look, they've got players like Travarius Ward, Tyrann Mathieu, Bashad Breeland on their secondary. Their secondary might be elite. Maybe except for Juan Thornhill. No, yeah. Look, it's just looking at everything. They're going 16th for me. Coming in at 15th, just being out the Chiefs, we've got the Dolphins. This team, I think, could surprise everybody, even at the beginning if they start Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, in my opinion, might be one of the most underrated players in the league. He's great. If their offense can step it up this year, and I mean, even with this defense, they could make the playoffs this year. And with Tua Tagovailoa in there, they have a very strong chance, like a huge chance to make the playoffs this year. I mean, I'm rooting for your Dolphins. You better do it. Come on, guys. All right. I forgot what I was saying, but time to move on to the 14th. 14th, we've got the Packers. The Packers. I'm just hearing my brother screaming from out there. Anyways, so the Packers. Look at this. Their linebackers. I mean, they've got pretty good linemen. They've got a pretty good secondary. But look at this. They've got players like Kristen Kirksey and Owen Burks. Owen Burks had 7 tackles. That's all it is. And Kristen Kirksey with 6 tackles. That's all it is. And, I mean, Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith really can't do much. I mean, they both managed to get at least 12 sacks. So, I mean, really, that's what's kind of saving them is the fact that they have players like Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith who are consistently making 36, let me show you the stats, 36 tackles and 41 tackles, respectively, and 12 sacks and 13.5 sacks, respectively. Also, 2 forced fumbles and 1 interception among them. So, really, if the rest of their freaking line core was like that, this might be one of the best in the league. And then we got the Seahawks. Another team that was known for their defense is kind of falling off. I mean, let me look at something that I'm just really curious about this. Let me find it. Oh, yeah. Their secondary really is falling off. Quentin Dunbar is definitely going to help them. They're getting interceptions effectively. They're getting interceptions a lot, but I mean, it's just not very good. Not very many pass deflections. Well, actually, their secondary is staying solid. If Quentin Dunbar steps it up this year, if Quandre Diggs steps it up, this team is going to be great. It's really Quandre Diggs holding this team down from the top 10. In 12th, we've got the Vikings. A lot of string of NFC teams over here. People are probably going to be surprised that I said that the Vikings are better at anything than the Packers. They did add Jeff Gladney as I'm pretty sure, Jeff Gladney in the secondary. He's a rookie. Harrison Smith is a pretty good secondaryman. If you notice, I'll go from talking all about the front seven to talking all about the secondaries with these teams. For the past few teams, I've only been talking about secondaries really, just because it's really hard for me to flip through all these freaking pages. I really need to start having them. You don't want to hear anything about this. Let's go to 11th spot. We're almost in the top 10, folks. I'm trying to make this a quick video. We've got the Bills, my number 1 team. This team, I think, could surprise everybody. The Bills could 100%, I think they could be the 49ers this year. The 49ers, again, weren't terrible. Well, they were terrible a few years back, but the Bills weren't terrible last year. Of course, they almost won a playoff game against the Texans, who almost won a playoff game against the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl. But the Bills, they could make it. They could win the Super Bowl, and I mean, I might be betting on them if I had money, and not nothing. But I mean, look, they got Tremaine Edmonds, they got Matt Milano, they got AJ Klein. Look at this crap. They got freaking Trenton Murphy, they got Ed Oliver, they got Jerry Hughes. You can't tell me that this defense isn't elite. It isn't the best. Okay, that's why it's out of the top 10. We're getting into the good. These are pretty good defenses. If you're an offense, you're going to be worried going into this game against, like the Panthers. They're another one where they're going to really need to step it up with Teddy Bridgewater. If Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get good with his team and Matt Rule takes a year like he normally does to get a team good, this defense is going to have to carry this team for, I don't know. I mean, they got Shaq Thompson and Tahir Whitehead, again, but they're not getting sacks. Last year, only 3.5 sacks out of everybody. I know they might not have all been on the team, but still, only 3.5 sacks. And this is, of course, only looking at their linebacker core. If we go to their linemen, let's see. Now we're seeing only 14.5. They did act Derek Brown. He's a rookie. They got K'Wan Short. We all hear about him, but he's only got 4 tackles. So again, their defense is pretty good. You could make an argument that you switch this whole area 14-10. They're pretty much uneven ground. You could make an argument that the Panthers are 14th. You could make an argument that the Packers are 10th. Bills 12th. Whatever. I expect to see that in the comments, and you better do it. In 9th, we have the Cardinals. Look at them go. But one of the things that's holding them down is, again, another player that didn't play much last year is Zach Allen. Only 6 tackles. That's it. No safety. No sacks. No forced fumbles. No interceptions. The rest of their defense is pretty great, honestly. But their defensive line really needs to do something. Their defensive line needs to be fixed. Defensive line coach, whatever your name is, do something about this. All right, now this might be entering great territory. Going up against these teams, I mean, you're having I don't know what the heck they do, but they're getting ready. 8th, you've got the Ravens. I mean, this team, I think I had them number 1 offense maybe, and in number 8, this team should win a Super Bowl. I don't know how they didn't win the Super Bowl last year. If I'm an NFC team, I mean, I don't expect for any NFC team to even have a chance in the Super Bowl last year if the Ravens are in there. You don't beat them. I don't know how they didn't make that. I guess, the Titans. You don't want to be playing against the Titans, but still. The only bad part is Brandon Williams. That is the only bad part of their team. Their defensive line is only above average. The rest of the team is great. You could say that their defensive line, I mean, really, Kalai Campbell is the best defensive lineman they got. Their defensive line, okay, I'll admit, their defensive line is pretty bad. So, they just need to step up on the sacks, and they'll be good. In 7th, we got the Bengals. Yes, I do think the Bengals' defense is better than the Ravens. Unpopular opinion time. Especially their line. I mean, you're looking at the 2 line. I have them right on top of each other because do it by division. And, I mean, look at this crap. They're 3. I don't understand. This is their worst lineman is almost at the Ravens' best lineman. Their defensive line is so much better than the Ravens. But that's not going to put them on top. You've got to get some more stats in there, Carson. Like the fact they added Logan Wilson, he's a rookie, to their defensive linebacker core. It's their front seven. The Bengals' front 7 is something to deal with. Okay, and their secondary is pretty good too. Now, just outside the top 5, we have the Raiders showing up. Late to the party. As always, we have the Raiders. I think I already said that. They don't have any rookies in their linebacker. Don't know why I need to say that. Their defensive line, their linebacker core is elite. By far is elite. I mean, they've got Corey Littleton on there, who was a linebacker with 2 interceptions. Nicholas Moreau and Nick Kwiatkowski, their other 2 linebackers, both also have an interception. Are you kidding me? I mean, Corey Littleton with 78 tackles. That's great. All right, the defensive linebacker core on the Raiders is spectacular. Coming in 5th, entering the top 5, we have the Texans. Making up for their offense. This team might be ruined by the fact they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. But their defense definitely is helping. Definitely is a big force. Sorry for being so abrupt on that one. And 4th, we got the Titans. There's a reason that they beat the Ravens last year. It's because their offense is so great. Okay? Now, their defensive linebackers, some of the best. Their secondary, their line might be bottom 5. Look, their best one only has 21 tackles and 1 safety. They had 4.5 safeties last year, all the people combined. I mean, it's just only 43 tackles combined. This defensive line, it's got to step it up. If their defensive line was as good as, say, if it was as good as the Bengals even, the Titans could be number 2, number 1 easily. But it's the fact that it's one of the worst. And third, we've got the Steelers. I hate on their offense, but I have to admit their defense is stellar. Their defense is amazing. We're talking about how bad the Titans. Never mind. The Titans' defensive line is. I mean, you got Stephon Tuitt. You got Cameron Hayward. Of course, they also have someone like Dan McCullers, who is. But still, entering the top 2. Got the gold medal right here. Not the gold medal. Silver medal. We got the Chargers. Look at this team. Look at it. Stare it in the eyes. Look at it and tell me this team is amazing at their defense. I mean, if Justin Herbert or Tyrod Taylor does great with this team, then their defense could definitely skyrocket. I'm sorry, I'm really abrupt. I was just suddenly got really uncomfortable. I feel like someone's watching me. We got Joey Bosa with 47 tackles. We got Melvin Ingram. We got Linval Joseph. Their defensive line might be the best in the entire league. And then look at their linebackers. They got Kenneth Murray, a rookie for the defensive line. Their front 7 might be the best. On a side note, do y'all want me to do a video on defensive line? I'll gladly do it. A video ranking all defensive line, not defensive line, all the ranking all the front 7s. I'll do that. But after plugging myself, let's go number 1. We got the Saints. Ooh. Also, I think that the Super Bowl this year, without doing my second predictions, I've already done a round of predictions. Now I've gone through doing. I'm gonna do more. Kind of shouting myself out again. Look at them. They have one of the best offenses. They have one of the best defenses. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if this year it's Saints versus Ravens in the Super Bowl. That's really what it should be. I feel like what the perfect year would be is that. I mean, I'm not a fan of. I'm a Redskins fan, but we all know they're not making the Super Bowl. They might make the playoffs, but the Super Bowl's pretty far off. Anyways, talking about the Saints, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Saints making it to the playoff, making it to the Super Bowl. Drew Brees wins a second Super Bowl, retires right after that. It beats a team like the Ravens. That is what needs to happen this year. Okay? And then, I mean, and he knows he's not leaving the Saints to die because they've got Jameis Winston. They've got Tommy Stevens. They've got Taysom Hill. All right? So, video's over. But I'm going to plug myself like crazy. I got my second channel, capital NCH, lowercase films, space in between. Remember, my brother made cringy films. We've only got one video out now, but we're almost finished recording a second one. We're making it, pretty sure it's called Insane West 2. It's going to be Insane West 2 something, but right now it's just Insane West 2. Title, not yet decided. I got at Twitter at Phil2DuckIsF1, or just look up Carsonian Beans. Also, very experimentative here. I do have a Patreon, okay? I'll shout your name out here when I'm doing my thing at the end of the video. Or I'll probably just make an extra video, extra like scene, and then my video saying like, here are all my patrons, and I'll read out the names or whatever. So if you want your name read off at the end of one of my videos, go ahead and donate $1. That's all you need to do for monthly. Seeing as I'm a minor, I can't have a credit card thing yet. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. And also just go to patreon.com/CarsonianBeans. You got it? Or just go to patreon.com and search up Carsonian Beans. There's so many different ways to find it. I'm done plugging myself. No one's going to see this. If you are, you're 30 minutes. I want to make it short. Thank you for watching this, and goodbye.
1, 2,